Hey everyone, Cam here. Well, I'd say here. At least 80% of my very being is currently running around Los Santos. Yep, Grand Theft Auto V has been released, and unsurprisingly, this has provided a platform for various media outlets and groups to deplore this entertainment and tout the dangers inherent in exposing yourself to violent video games. But I want to focus on one allegation which comes up time and time again. Could Grand Theft Auto V, or any video game which involves a lot of shooting, actually train you to kill?
You know what? You're one nasty fuck.
4,076. That's the number of shots I've fired since I started playing Grand Theft Auto V, and I've only been going for a few hours. So, could all this digital blasting actually be training me to be better at firing a gun in real life? Well, fortunately for us, a study published last year in the journal Communication Research called Boom Headshot, Effective Video Game Playing Controller Type on Firing Aim and Accuracy, attempted to address this very question. The researchers divided 151 participants into 5 groups. Now, Group 1 played Resident Evil 4 on the Wii using a standard controller. Now, this game was chosen, by the way, because the researchers felt it was a violent one that encouraged players to shoot the enemies in the head. The second group also played Resident Evil 4, but used a Wii gun controller, while the third and fourth groups played a non-violent shooting game with a bullseye target. One used a controller, and the other used a gun controller. And finally, a fifth group who played a non-violent, non-shooting game. Each of the 5 groups then had to shoot a real gun at a mannequin target, and the researchers marked their accuracy and tendency to land headshots. The results showed that the group who played Resident Evil 4 with the gun controller performed best on the firing range, landing 99% more headshots and 33% more hits than other participants. However, in the groups who played the target firing game, there wasn't much difference when it came to firing at the mannequins between those who'd used the controllers or the gun controllers. So, what do these results mean? Well, essentially, they demonstrate that by using a simulation of a task, in this case shooting a gun at a human-shaped target, you can actually improve your real-world skill. This can be explained quite nicely by something called mechanistic transfer and the identical elements theory, which states that the more identical elements there are between 2 tasks, the greater the transfer of skills. In this case, shooting a gun-like controller at zombies slowly coming towards you in Resident Evil 4 involves similar mechanical skills needed to hit a mannequin on a firing range. But the key is that mechanical similarity. As the study also demonstrated, playing a shooting game with a controller didn't confer the same benefits when taken to the firing range. Now, consider that the most popular shooters, the likes of Call of Duty, Battlefield, and also Grand Theft Auto, all use a control pad or mouse and keyboard, which mechanically is a long way from firing a real gun. So the notion that me doing this with a controller could actually make me better at doing this doesn't really make any sense and isn't supported by this study. Also, while the study did show an improvement for those who had used a simulated gun on a human target, it didn't really give any indication on how good they became, compared to, say, a professional soldier, someone who is actually trained to kill. Well, in a fascinating article published on Giant Bomb in May this year, Army-trained scout Stephen Bainan discussed his own experience of marksmanship training and the use of a bespoke Army-designed simulation video game, the Engagement Skills Trainer. He explains that while the simulation definitely had its uses, he felt it struggled to accurately teach the fundamentals of marksmanship training, that's steady positioning, aiming, breathing, and trigger squeeze. He blamed the lack of subtle, accurate detail, such as realistic gun recoil. When you consider this and all the complexities of firing a gun properly, the notion then that sitting in your house playing 30 minutes of Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto, controlling the action with a small, occasionally vibrating piece of plastic in your lap, could actually train you to be an effective marksman sounds increasingly far-fetched. Of course, there is the wider debate surrounding the psychological impact of these games, but I'm not going to dive into this now because I explored the evidence in great detail in a previous episode of The What If Machine. You can check it out in full here, but the crux of the issue is that while violent or competitive games can promote feelings of aggression, there is no compelling evidence that this translates into real-world violence. Okay, as always guys, I'd love to hear what you think of this episode. You can do so by leaving a comment in the box down below, or you can tweet at me at CamFrazRob. Alright, I'll see you next week.